Grazie, non vedo dove è il microfono. Prego.
Una domanda molto breve. Vi siete ispirati a Giobbe, alla pazienza infinita con cui Giobbe deve sopportare tutti i mali, prendendo naturalmente in giro questo modello ebraico di tolleranza e di sopportazione? E l'altra cosa, pensate che qualcuno della comunità ebraica, i più intolleranti, i più, come dire, conformisti, possano protestare?
Funny as it might sound, we weren't really thinking about Job, although I guess there are similarities. Although Job as a character is having his faith in God tested, and that's not exactly the case with Michael's character. It's more his sort of comfort with the status quo that's being tried. What was the second part of the question? Yeah, how the Jewish community has reacted to it. It actually, no, there hasn't been much negative reaction from, I think, really conservative Jews or very, very religious, Orthodox Jews generally don't go to movies much and haven't reacted at all. Those who have seen it have been actually pretty positive. The reception so far in the States, where it opened a couple of weeks ago, has been actually better than we'd expected. Because actually we had expected some, you know, whenever you get specific ethnically, some people are ready to take offense, so we thought maybe there would be some negative reaction, but it hasn't really been the case.
And it's also particularly true of the Jewish community, I think, all over, but also specifically in the United States. You know, they're very sensitive to you know, how they're portrayed in the media. And there was some apprehension, as Ethan said, before the movie came out, that you know, some of those sensitivities may be rubbed the wrong way. But we were actually pleasantly surprised, I have to say, that most of the reaction in the United States from the Jewish community was very positive. But that isn't to say it wasn't monolithic. You know, again, as Ethan said, you're always going to get, I think it's unavoidable if you get specific about people's, you know, religious issues, ethnic issues. There's always going to be a little bit of pushback from somebody's going to be offended.
Sì, non vedo dove è il microfono, ma ah sì, qui in seconda fila.
The question is for the Brothers Code. How much of your film do you have influence of European film? Because if you think about Hollywood, the storyline is always about the loser, and then he's ugly, and then he's carry on and doing things, and suddenly he became beautiful, handsome, and he's a successful man. But yours is slightly different. So how much of the European film influenced you, and if you have any examples or director or film that you are very pleased for, maybe Italian ones or any ones you have in mind? Thank you.
Well, it's really hard to be specific. I mean, maybe you can be in terms of European films. Yeah, obviously, I think we've been very influenced by, as you know, I mean, this is just, it sounds so banal, but by all films, you know, and including European films. You know, we watch lots of European films. We've watched European films since we were kids. They can't help but have influenced us in some way or another. I'm not, in this movie in particular, it's hard for me to think of sort of, you know, specific influences or antecedents. I mean, ones that we were specifically thinking about in connection with A Serious Man. Can you? I mean, were we?
Not really. No, really. It's a hard one to connect. A hard question to connect to this movie, just because, again, going back to Antonio's first question, the movie is so much for us specifically was an exercise in thinking about the setting, the region, and the ethnicity of the characters, and the place we grew up in. It's so much more in our minds about that than about other movies that No, yeah, it's hard also for me to make a connection.
And also, I mean, just to get back to that original question about sort of, you know, the American society and the emptiness and like, again, I mean, we think about the movie that it's very American in our, so while there may be European films that have influenced us stylistically in terms of our thinking about the movie specifically, it's so much about, you're right in that respect, it's so much about American, the culture that we come from, you know.
Prego, qui c'è in prima fila.